Hello everyone and welcome. It's day 7 with our crafty Advent calendar. We're going to open it up and we're going to make some cards today. I'm going to do a lot of different things on this particular video. It's going to be a little bit longer, but there's going to be a lot to see. So let's get 7 opened up and take a look at it. It's looking like a stencil. It's looking like a 3-layered stencil. So we'll just pull the little sheet off and pull the stencils out and take a look at them. We've got 4 butterflies. It looks like 2 large ones and then 2 side view. So here they are. So you can see we've got 2 on the side and then 2 from the front, and we've kind of got different sizes. Just taking a look at the cover there, and we're just going to get working with them. In fact, I did so much on this, I'm not going to show you my storage solution. Now this is sped up because I'm going to do a bunch of ink blending. We're going to do some like some texture paste, some glimmer paste, and just a variety of things. So right now I'm just taking some dried marigold and some crackled pistachio and some black soot and I can't remember the other color, and just doing some blending with my blending brushes. I've got some really small ones. Saltwater taffy is that first color. I'm just using the same colors on all of these, and then we'll shift a little bit here. But so I've done these 2 big ones. I'm using a real tiny Spellbinders brush for the body of the butterfly, and then we're going to bring in some purple for this, and then we're going to use the black soot. So I've got wilted violet, and I'm going to use it with a black soot, and we're going to have kind of purple and black on this set of butterflies here. And so I really needed a bigger blending brush for this portion of it, but I just didn't want to drag another one out. So there, we've got all 3 of our stencils just blended with some oxide ink. And next we're going to take the stencils and we're going to use some glimmer paste on it. And I'm going to get this taped down, and we've got the Spellbinders spatula, and I'm just bringing in some colored paste. And we've got a gold and we've got a bronze here, and I'm just going to lay it down, and this is going to turn out really neat. I really like this. And this is actually called Air Mousse, and it's from Cat Scrappiness, and it's something that I had in my stash, and so I thought I'd use it. But it turned out gorgeous, that gold, and you're going to get to see it really well as we move on. I'm just doing a lot of techniques and sped it up. And now I'm going to bring in a couple other colors of that Air Mousse. I've got a blue and a green, but I'm finding out as I'm getting in there it's really thick, and so I'm not going to get as smooth of a pattern as I want, but I go ahead and use it because I'm like, well, it's kind of blending a little bit, and I think I can work with it. And we will work with this one on our cards. We're not going to work with all the panels, but we will work with this one. And so I brought that purple one back in, and I've got some shimmer paint, and this is white with just like glitter in it, and I'm just going back over the top of this particular set of butterflies and adding some shimmer to it, and it'll just add a little bit of sparkle and just kind of make it a little bit more interesting. And that's what I'm doing with this one. And so we've got our ink blended butterflies. We've got the one that we put some glitter on. You can see when I move it, you can see the sparkle there. And then we've got the 2 with the Air Mousse, which is kind of a, like a paste. Anyway, so we're going to get to working with these, and I really like this one, so we're going to start off with this one, and we're going to do just a variety of different things with these panels, and we're going to use some different colors, so they're going to be kind of an eclectic mix of cards that we're going to have here, but I think we'll have fun with it. Now I'm cutting this down, and I will cut it. I'm going to cut it to 3 3/4 by 5, thinking that I'm going to use it, but the design that I have later, I'm going to decide to cut it down even more. I'll wind up cutting it down to 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, I believe. So I'm going to bring in a couple of colors of Spellbinders cardstock. I can't remember the colors. I'll try to link them in the description box below. But for this, I can't think of the color, Tuscan or whatever. It's the new cardstock from Spellbinders, and I can't think of the name at the moment. But I'm going to bring in this Better Press plate, and we're going to press that mustard colored paper that I've got going on there. I'm going to get some of my Better Press inks, and we'll get this inked up. I've got saffron, bark, tawny, and magenta, I think. And we'll put the saffron away. It's not going to show up on there. I do like this combination on these. They really go well together, including the saffron, especially if you're just going to use like a watercolor paper or something. But I'm going to use this cardstock that already has color to it. And so I'm going to use the tawny brown, the bark, and then I think it's magenta. And we're just going to ink this up. I'm doing this so that we'll kind of have a pattern behind there, and it won't be, we won't just have these two plain cardstock panels. And I thought this would really go with this because we're doing mixed media here, so I thought it'd be fun to just bring in some other things that I have. And like I said, I will try to link everything in the description box below. Now, I was thinking, I pulled that tape off thinking I was going to tape it on the back side and thinking, oh, I want to get the whole plate. But then I remembered I was going to cut it down anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and tape it on the front. If you want to get the whole A2 size panel, you want to tape it on the back because your tape will get in the way. But I remembered that I was going to cut this down because I'm going to layer it on that other cardstock. And so it won't matter if my tape's in the way. So I'm just going to run it through my Spellbinders 6. I laid my butterfly out of the way so I would not mess it up because I think it's beautiful. This one I think is the star of the show. And we've got this panel. And it's a splatter. Better Press plate is what it is. It just creates a splatter. And I think it looks really cool, and it's going to go nicely with this mixed media butterfly that we're using. So I'm just going to trim this down to, I think I go 4 by 5 1/4 on this. And then we'll get it layered up on our cinnamon colored cardstock. And so I've got a nice little frame around there, and I'm liking it. But I want to show more of that pressed plate. I've got a little bit of tape on there. I'm going to scrape it off. So then I'll decide to cut this butterfly down again. So I'm just going to bring in my Spellbinders trimmer and just cut it down. And I'll cut it, and then I'll look at it again, and then I'll cut it again, and I'll just keep cutting until I get the desired look. And I think this is where I took it to 3.5. And then I took it down to, I don't know, 3.5 would probably be 4 3/4. But then I'm like, I still want to see more of that pattern behind there because we've got a lot of white space, and I don't really have any other plans for the rest of the white space. So I'm just looking at it, trying to decide, and I'm like, okay, we're going to cut this down. And so we're going to bring it down to a square, which will be 3.5 by 3.5 is I think what we wind up with. Your design's never really finished until it's finished. You just keep going and looking at it and tweaking it, and I'm checking, was that 3.5? It is. So now we've got a square panel. And that way we can see more of that Better Press design behind there. And I think the butterfly looks lovely on it. So I'm just debating what I'm doing here. I actually took it off camera and measured it one more time just to check and see if it was what I wanted. And then I'm just going to go ahead and get this layered up and laid down on our card base, and we're going to get our butterfly added. If you would, if you think about it, hit the like button before you leave. It really does help my channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I really welcome you. I've had a lot with the Advent calendar. I've gotten a lot of new subscribers, and so I really appreciate it. I will tell you, I do, if you're a new subscriber, I normally do a video every day, even when we don't have the Advent calendar. I just normally post a video every day, and I have a lot of Spellbinders content. I get a lot of their product, and I do a lot of their content with them. I'm on some other design teams as well and bring in some other things that are interesting. But I do predominantly a lot of Spellbinders. So if you're a Spellbinders fan and you're new, I want to welcome you, because I do enjoy using Spellbinder and working with Spellbinders products, and I do the daily videos. And I go live twice a week, Sunday nights at 8 p.m., and then I go live on Monday nights at 6 p.m. with my girlfriend Daria. So here we go, we've got it, and I'm going to put some foam on the back of it, and we'll get it laid down on there. Now, our lives are just really more, I call them, chatting with friends. We have a good group of people in the chat, and we just hang out, and you never know what we're going to work with. And sometimes the chat will determine what I do with my card, because they'll give me ideas and suggestions, and we'll just run with them. So it's pretty fun, and that's Sunday night at 8 and then Monday at 6. Now, I'm thinking about laying this straight down on there. I'm like, do I want to be in the middle? Do I want to be at the top? And then I kind of angled it, and I thought, I'm going to go with that. So I just laid it down there on an angle, and I think it looks really pretty. You've got all that shimmer and shine. We've got the two panels that kind of match the color of the paste, the mousse that we used on it. I'm going to bring in the frame and one of the sentiments from that we previously got in the kit. I've just used the same color as the bottom layer of my cardstock there, and I brought in some brown, and it says thank you. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it did die cut out very well, and you can see that thank you in person. And so I'm just going to try and decide where I'm going to lay this at, and I decide that I am going to kind of let it I've got my butterfly angled, but I'm going to make the sentiment more straight, so it's going to be across the corner of that. And I'm going to use my glass mat to try and line it up on there. And now I've got a thank you card. I'm going to bring in some gems and lay some of those down on there. It would have been fun to go ahead and splatter as well, but I'm just going to I've just got some brown gems, and I first thought I was going to put like antennas there, and I'm like, no, these are too big. If it had the smaller ones, I think they would have been fun. So I'm going to wiggle that off there, and we're going to relocate it. I'm just trying to decide what I want to do here. And we're just going to get some gems laid down, and we're going to try and fill in a little bit of white space. I did take that Better Press ink bark and just kind of went along the edges of that white. That's actually watercolor paper that I use there, and just kind of put a little rough frame around there to where we've got some distressed look to it. And we're going to get these on there, and that'll finish off that card. I think it turned out really nice. So we're going to make a couple more, and they're going to be different. Now, I will tell you, I'm fussy cutting here. It is not my thing. If you watch my channel and get to know me, I am a die cutting queen. I love all the little bits and pieces and die cut things, and I work with them a lot very regularly. But we're going to do some fussy cutting tonight on a couple of these. And it's not perfect. I got in a little too close on one area of that first butterfly, but I've got a remedy for that. But we're going to get these die cut out. And there we go. So we've got our two side view butterflies. And I've got a card design made up for it. We're going to bring it in. I've got black. I wanted to bring in the black since we've got black on that butterfly. And I'm just going to bring in some black. This is Michael's cardstock. And it's just 60 pound, real lightweight. I don't mind using it for layering. And then I've got two purple Spellbinders cardstocks here that I'm using, and they are heavier. I have taken this strip and used our embossing folder that we received earlier in the week, and I'm going to lay it down in the center of this. I've got my Bells and Bows scallop frame from Spellbinders, and I'm going to pop it up on there, and then we're going to make these two butterflies our focal point, and it's going to come together. So I know this is a little bit longer of a video, but I kind of wanted to work with the different things that we did. I didn't think I was going to work with these purple and black ones, but I thought, well, let's go ahead and do it. So we're going to have an eclectic mix of colored cards here. So I've decided I'm going to put one butterfly on each side of this panel, kind of like they're lit, like they kind of landed on this. And we'll put one at the top, one at the bottom. I'm going to wind up not working with that medium-sized butterfly, just from the essence of time. But I will have two more butterflies that I have stenciled. Now here's what I'm fixing. I kind of cut the white away on this part, and I had white on the other part, so I'm just taking my gel pen and putting a little white edge on there, and that way it doesn't look like, you know, I cut a little too deep into that. There's always a solution for a problem when you've got an issue with your card. So there it is, and I need a sentiment for it. Now, I keep a little tub of sentiments from Spellbinders, and I had this happiest birthday wishes, and I thought I could lay that on there. It would look pretty, and then I would have a birthday card in my stash. So I'm going to just lay it down on there. I didn't have to work at it because I already had it made, and I'm just going to add it to there and get it laid down on there. And there we go. So we're going to move on to the other one that I use the mousse on, that shimmer mousse. And I've got this particular one, this panel here, it's in the peridot, and I have used the crackled embossing folder from Spellbinders, and I've got this another scalloped nested die set, and I'm going to use the Cosmic Sky and bring in the blue or the white panel and lay it on the blue, and we're just going to get it glued up on here, and we're going to use those other side view butterflies that I use the texture on. And we'll give it a press. And again, we're going to fussy cut again. And like I said, it's not my specialty, but we're going to get it done, and we'll get them ready to go and laid down on our card. So I did speed this up as well. And I actually believe it or not, I was using those smaller scissors for the other one. I actually fussy cut better with bigger scissors. I know that seems kind of ironic, but it just, I don't know, they're more comfortable for me. Now these are quite a bit more textured because I actually wound up throwing that paste out because it was just too thick, and I know it's just going to get thicker. So I went ahead and threw it out. But I thought, well, we'll go ahead and use these even though they are really kind of thick. But, and I'm trying to decide, how do I want to do these? I'm like, oh, I laid them like that. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I did that with the other card. So we're just going to kind of nestle them on here like this. And again, we're going to bring in another sentiment from my stash and stick that sentiment down. I actually had one that I had used some blue Better Press on it, and so it'll work nicely with this. And I'm just going to get it added. So we've got our two butterflies on there, and this is Life is Better with Girlfriends. And I thought, well, that's fun. I've got some girlfriends that I could use one of these cards for, so I'm going to lay that down on there. And that is actually a recent set from, I think it was a recent club kit sentiment. And I'm just going to put that on there. And I think it looks nice. And I'm going to bring in I've got some Cosmic Sky. It's called Cosmic. It's probably not Cosmic Sky, but it's from Spellbinders. And these will match very nicely with what we've got going on here. So we're going to lay some of these down on here. And this will finish up this card. And it'll finish up our video too. I'm just going to do the 3 cards. And we'll just get some of these gems laid down on there. And fill in some of that white space. And I'm having a hard time getting them off of there. There we go. We're going to lay those down, and then I think I'll put a couple more up top and just fill in some of that space. And we're going to have lots of shine on this card. So we're just bringing all of our cards in. We've got this first one, and then here's our butterfly with a shimmer paste. And then we've got this one with the green and the blue. And then we've got our 2 stencils. So I'm going to bring in some pictures. I think this one turned out really great. I hope you like it. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Here's our purple one. And then we've also got our green one. I appreciate you watching. And I'll see you again tomorrow for day 8. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.